Hello, my friend. Miss Anna is back, and I'm going to read you a story, and the story is called The Biggest Apple Ever. Once there were two mice who fell in love with the same apple pie, but you had to be there to see how it happened. One opening day at Mouseville School, the principal, Mr. Mauser, made an announcement. We will be learning about apples this fall, and get to things started, we will have a contest. Whoever brings the biggest apple to his teacher will win a special prize. The judging will take place on Friday. Good luck, everyone. I have an apple tree in my backyard, said Penelope. I bet it has really big apples. There's an apple tree across from my house, said James. I'm going to climb it as soon as I get home. I don't have any apples, said Clayton, the house mouse, but I'm going to find Miss Mousley the biggest apple ever. No, you're not, said his friend Desmond, the field mouse. I am. Oh, yeah, said Clayton. Yeah, said Desmond. All the way home on the school bus, Clayton and Desmond talked about the contest. Maybe I can grow an apple tree with really big apples, said Clayton. It takes too long, said Desmond. I heard Miss Mosley say 6 years it takes to grow an apple tree. I'll think of something, said Clayton. So will I, said Desmond. When Clayton got off the bus, he sneaked back into town to see what Penelope and James were up to. Penelope had come down from the tree. She was carrying 2 tiny apples. James was still up in the tree across the street. He was playing with very small apples. Clayton knew he'd seen bigger ones at the market. When Desmond came by later, he realized the same thing. They're all trying to find the biggest apple. The next day at school, Penelope and James brought their tiny apples. No one else had brought anything. Miss Mosley cleaned her throat. Class, we had a lot of work to do to start the year, but because we are learning about apples and having an apple contest, we will go to Barnaby's orchard. Everyone got very excited. Yay, we're going to the apple orchard. I'm going to find the winning apple, said Clayton. Me too, said Desmond. At the orchard, Miss Mosley pointed out different kinds of apples. Then everyone disappeared into the trees to look for the winner. Look at all the apples in the apple orchard. You see that? Clayton walked down one row, craning his neck. Desmond walked down another row, craning his neck. Then Clayton saw what he thought was a really big apple. It was a little too high to reach, but he stretched high for it. At the moment Desmond saw the very same apple on the very same branch, he stretched for it too. They bumped heads and fell down. I think we should bring this apple in together, said Clayton. But when they got back to the bus, James had an apple that was even bigger than the apple. He could hardly carry it. Clayton and Desmond looked at each other. What would they do now? Their friends brought a bigger apple than they had. What do you think they're going to do? That night at dinner, Clayton explained the problem to his dad. Said Dad. Apples don't come in too many sizes. Do you think you'll find a bigger one? I don't know, said Clayton. Then maybe James will win the prize. This time, it's okay if he does. Over at Desmond's house, Uncle Vernon said exactly the same thing. But Clayton and Desmond were still determined. The next afternoon, they met at Barnaby's orchard. They picked 2 huge baskets of apples, but nothing they found was bigger than the apple James had picked. You know, Clayton said, I think Dad was right. The time James gets to win, but we got all the apples. Why don't we make a big apple pie? Desmond laughed. Great! let's make the biggest apple pie ever, and we'll make it for our class. Clayton nodded, and I think I know where we'll find big pan to fit the apple pie in. Whoa, so they had a good idea. They're gonna make an apple pie. Mmm. The following afternoon, Desmond arrived at Clayton's house with Uncle Vernon. Everything's packed up and ready to go, Clayton said. It's all in Dad's truck. But where are we going? Desmond asked. You'll find out in a minute, said Clayton. Where do you think they're going? Let's find out. Dad drove with Clayton and Desmond beside him in the front seat. Uncle Vernon stayed in the back with all the apples and the other ingredients for the giant apple pie. As they came around the corner, Desmond grasped Tony's Pizza. Of course, said Clayton. Where could be better than a giant pizza pan? Where would they find a giant pizza pan in the pizza place, right? Mr. Tony greeted them at the door. Welcome, welcome. We're ready, he said. And so they got to work making the dough for the crust, kneading it, rolling it into a big circle, and spreading it over the deep dish pan. Then everyone peeled and sliced the apples, mixed together the sugar and the spices, the rest of the dough on top. Wow, said Clayton and Desmond. They were finished. Wow, 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 they said. An hour, said Mr. Tony. Give me an hour. The giant pan just fit into his huge oven. They're making a huge apple pie. The next day was Friday. Who would have the largest apple? James, of course, and Mr. Mauser handed him the prize, a cheddar cheese apple. Miss Mosley looked surprised. Clayton, Desmond, nothing from you? The two of them grinned. At the same moment, the classroom door flew open and Clayton's dad, Uncle Vernon, Mr. Tony, struggling to carry the giant pie all by themselves. You see that pie? Big pie. How wonderful, said Mrs. Mosley. That's the biggest apple pie ever. We made it for the whole class, said Clayton. All of us made it together, said Desmond. They shared a high five, and everyone in the class had a very big slice of apple pie. Wow. Do you like apple pie? I like apple pie. I really do. I like the apple pie with crumbs on top. That's my favorite. With some ice cream. Yummy, yummy for our tummies, right? All right, my friends. Well, I hope you enjoyed our story, The Biggest Apple Ever. Come back, my friends. Bye.